Okay, welcome back to Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments. And we're going to the Kew Gardens drama. It's 6:30 on a Monday morning. Hope you're having a good morning. I, again, have not been to bed, so it's late for me. Oh yes, the bees.
Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Oh, hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment. A theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, however did you guess?
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
Poor Toby's stuck there. Let's see if we have any letters. Lady Brackenstall's confession. Dear Mr. Holmes, I have finally found the courage to write you a letter. I can scarcely find the words to express my gratitude for your kindness. On that terrible day, I believed my life to be ruined, but at the same time, I realized there to be one person in the world who truly loved me and who I loved in return. His name we both know. He is Captain Jack Crocker. His love has given me true reason to live. Even if we cannot be together in the end, none of this could have happened without you, Mr. Holmes. Yours sincerely, Mary Brackenstall. Cool. Let's go to the Kew Gardens. It's a long ride.
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
What are we doing, Holmes?
I don't
Let
know.
us find someone who could help us.
Someone who's not you, Watson. Okay. Oh, look, there's people over here. And
Don't touch anything else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer.
But don't
without
touch
turning
it.
it over this time. Good day to you, gentlemen.
Oh,
How may I
boy.
help you? If you are here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
5 days
So
ago.
you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favour for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
You responded
I am
5 days
Martin
after?
Hamish. I am the deputy director of Kew Gardens. And that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
But he doesn't touch
I am
anything.
delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do.
And he's not
Albert?
touching anything.
Show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
But don't touch
How
anything.
many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
She, however, can touch everything.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plants were exhibited.
They were all going
Thank
to
you.
cry.
Is there something the matter?
It's very
Yes,
sad.
there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
They were my friends.
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry.
Oh.
We were not aware. The two of you were good friends?
He was my father.
He let
Oh,
me
dear.
touch things.
Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us
Is
for
it
the intrusion.
murder?
You say that he died here, in the large glass house.
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the colonial collection. He suffered a heart attack, just like that, so suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
What
Watson?
should we do next, Holmes?
You are no help.
The plants were here. All of them were stolen.
Not touch.
Do not touch.
Can we touch the balloons? Watson, get out of the way. You're useless.
Here is a list of the stolen plants.
I'm not going to read that. This is with the music. Let's look at. Watson, get out of the way.
According to Albert, this is where his father, Montague Dunn, was found dead.
Uh-huh. Footprints.
The traces are thinner in some places. These boot marks are fresh. It appears as though someone was dragging their feet. The footprints reveal that someone staggered here.
It's probably the guy when he died. Anything else? Fragments.
Soil. It should have come from a flower pot. The soil on the side of this flower shelf is the same as that on the ground.
Amazing. Imagine that.
Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here.
Just like the dead guy. There's something else to see. Footprints. The broken pot.
This pot was broken fairly recently. A flower pot recently fell down from these shelves and was misplaced.
It's misplaced.
The door was smashed at shoulder height. This door handle is new. It was recently changed.
What else? My goodness. So many things to see with our Sherlock.
The ensconce
Senses.
was breached near the handle.
Wisconsin. Is that what those
The door
things
was
are called?
forced from the inside of the Colonial Collection Room. The handle was changed afterwards.
I think we need to inspect the colonial collection.
Okay, but we're not done yet.
Blood.
Look, he's broken.
This sign is broken. Something heavy was dropped upon it. Someone fell violently against this sign, and they were injured in the clash. Most likely a head wound. All the clues around here are quite...
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Quite suspicious. Okay. 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 That's one. Knocking over the pot. Falling on the fence.
This reconstruction reveals a disturbing fact. Montague Dunn damaged the door of the Colonial Collection Room.
He was in a panic, or the door was locked. Was it an accident, or a murder then, I wonder? I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection Room.
To the glory of the colonial empire, rare and exotic plants in our distant colonies. What does this sign say? Giant water lilies basin, Victoria, Amazonic. Here's the blood. Just keep looking around in here.
These trees, with their roots in water, must originate from Louisiana.
Ah, yes, the bayou. I remember our visit in the case of the Awakened.
And back to here. So, these are plants from the east and the land of the rising sun. Alright, let's investigate this room here.
Very strange. Half of the colonial collection is absent.
Very strange. Oh my.
The smell is strong. It is a detergent.
Something lying on the floor. Stone chip.
This broken fragment was the result of a heavy blow. A fragment of marble, most likely chipped from a statue or sculpture.
Okay. What else is there? Window panes.
These windows were perfectly cleaned. Part of this greenhouse was emptied and thoroughly cleaned.
Ha! We have a haha. So done was trapped. Emptied colonial collection. Perform an autopsy on Montague Dunn. The death is suspicious. Why had he forced the door of the colonial collection room? Why had someone cleaned, and emptied the room? Was it a trap or a simple accident? Bum, bum, bum. Colonial Western climatic conditions. Lose moisture at this temperature.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
Okay. Interesting pictures. Some interesting plants. Cape Colony. Singapore. Interesting. Bengal, New Zealand. Sudan's way up there. Calcutta. British India.
These plants come from all the territories of the British Empire.
Malacca. Never heard of that. British Honduras. Australia. Oh, this ends just like that. Okay. Dry tropics climate conditions.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. Dry tropics.
Can't look at these books. Cacti.
These flower pots are beautiful. They are intended to be used for exhibition purposes. The symbol is not from Kew Gardens.
What is the symbol? Well, what's it get away? Let these. Okay.
Dry tropics.
Aha! Nothing to look at here, really? What about these little bottles? Those look interesting. Fine. And we're back outside. Excuse me.
There is a smell of burning.
Yes, because there's something on fire over here. Let's just check it out. Fireplace. Broken pot. Evidence! That's a different
The symbol is not from Kew Gardens.
Are any of the pots from Kew Gardens? Gas mask.
A protective mask. Someone set it alight, but it did not burn. A broom handle was half burned. The remains of a picture frame.
Yo.
A door handle?
The
Why
old
would
door
anyone
handle.
throw such a thing in the fire? The door handle to the colonial collection and that of the fireplace are made of the same material.
Alright, what else is in here? Oh, piece of plant.
The plants were set alight fairly recently. Some have not completely burned.
This old-fashioned lawnmower. Walking around the tree. You need 2 lawnmowers? Really? Any of these pots in the Kew Gardens? Oh, do get out of the way, Watson. No, okay, okay. So we went there, and we went there, and we went there. Okay.
Water lily greenhouse. Dry tropics. Colonial collection. Farmhouse.
Reserve.
Reserve.
Reserve. Office house.
Director's office, cloakroom, and laboratory.
Nursery.
Nursery.
Seed house.
Seed house.
Ventilation system.
Ventilation system.
You are here. Oh. Map of Kew Gardens.
A map of Kew Gardens.
Object of interest. What does that mean? Okay. That's good stuff. Wicket! It's not a sticky wicket. Whenever I hear the word wicket, I think of sticky wicket. And I don't know why, and I don't know where I heard that from. But every single time. There's a ventilation system.
A ventilation system. It should regulate the temperature of the staff buildings.
It's another object of interest. Oh. Oh.
A water tank.
A water tank.
A ventilation system. It should regulate the temperature of the staff buildings. Seed house.
Seed house.
Locked.
Locked. Oh no. Trash cans. place is huge. Nursery.
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 Locked.
Locked. Oh, Watson, you look silly over there doing that.
Locked.
Locked. Click in here.
Locked.
Locked. Okay, we haven't been everywhere yet. This is pretty. Over here. Oh.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Yeah, I suppose we should talk to him. Red eyes, wept recently, consumed by grief. Shaving cut. Clean hands. Because he's not allowed to touch anything. Of course he has clean hands.
Do you work here?
Yes, but part-time only. For I'm also studying botany at the University of London.
You're following in your father's footsteps, then. That is commendable.
Well, even if botany is not my strongest suit, there are people who say that I could be a good manager.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Okay, let's see what we have to say about him. Albert Dunn is a nervous and anxious young man, clearly evident by his bitten fingernails. He uses a quantity of detergent with which to clean his hands, which is a poor decision seeing as he handles plants and soil. His eyes are red. He has been weeping very recently. His age tells us that he is still at university. He is good looking, unmarried, and probably still lives with his mother. Watson. Switch their jacket. Okay, task list for Albert. Sweep out the palm house, tidy the workshop of the large glass house, scrub the toilets, wash the gloves and overalls, clean the storage shed tools. Note, you are only allowed to read the newspaper during your lunch break.
A task list for Albert, compiled by Martin Hamish. Sweep out the palm house, scrub the toilets, clean the storage shed tools. Palm house.
Did you buy something with this? Why is this palm tree? It's falling over. That's not good. Ooh. Exotic.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. Water lily greenhouse.
Water lily greenhouse. And now we're back here. Okay. How do we get out of here? Actually, we're just gonna travel. Oh no, we gotta talk to the main guy. And do a profile on him. Oh my goodness! What was it? Excuse me.
Locked.
That was locked. And Steve House was locked.
Locked.
Yes. Okay. What's this?
Locked.
Well, I guess they're thorough. Okay. Glasses. Inexpensive glasses. Dirty collar. Dirty shirt. Unmarried. Gardener's hands.
Albert told us about the tragic death of Mr. Dunn, the late director of Kew Gardens.
Tragic indeed. His heart attack was quite unexpected.
Would you unlock the doors for us?
Do you expect to find the stolen plants there? I am sorry, but those rooms are private.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Martin Hamish is unmarried. His hands and nails resemble those of a gardener. They are dirty and swollen. He is short-sighted, wearing bifocals to correct his vision. He is very plain. He works hard to the point of neglecting his appearance, and it is sadly unlikely that he has any female companion. He lives alone. Okay. So let's go to Scotland Yard. Do we have any more clues? Nope.
I asked Inspector Lestrade to take Montague Dunn's body to Scotland Yard.
It's ready for autopsy, then.
Are we going to see Jake in this again?
First of all, Let us carry out an external examination. No redness, stings, or bruises. Nothing suspicious here. There is an injury to the skull, most probably caused by the fall in the water lily greenhouse. The vessels and the pupil of the eye appear quite normal. The air from the lungs carries a faint floral aroma.
So there's like no autopsy? There's no...
There are no suspicious marks upon the chest. Let us finish our external examination so that we can proceed with the autopsy.
Done an autopsy.
Now, let us examine the internal organs.
Ew, do we have to? Nah, that's not what they look like. That's why he died. It's made of toys.
The liver is enlarged. It would seem that he was suffering from an alcohol addiction. The liver tissue is brown. There are no visible pathological signs.
Bloop.
The lungs are congested and edematous.
Oh, goodness.
The tissue on the inferior lobe of the right lung is damaged, most probably caused by toxins from an unknown plant.
It's damaged on the outside.
The heart's blood vessels show no pathological signs. The heart tissue shows no visible pathological signs.
It wasn't a heart attack. Ew.
The stomach tissues show no visible pathological signs. There is a small amount of content. It appears that he breakfasted lightly, only a short while before his death. My suspicions have been substantiated. Montague Dunn, the director of Kew Gardens, died from poisoning. Plant poisoning, to be more exact.
You mean...
Yes, it is murder.
We should inform Lestrade.
Yes, but do remember, Watson, that I discovered the murder. The challenge is mine.
The challenge, Holmes?
We need to locate that deadly plant. Such a perfect murder appeals to me.
Murder of any kind appeals to you. Is that all we need to do?
No. We also have the people working at Kew Gardens. Martin Hamish and the son of the victim, Albert Dunn.
And also Miss White, of whom we spoke with Mr. Hamish. Should we bring them all here for interrogation?
No. A few innocuous questions at Kew will suffice, as well as a discreet delve into their personal affairs. Yes, Watson, it is time now to open the doors.
Even those in the staff building? I suppose that is necessary.
We should also be concerned with the victim himself. After all, we don't know very much about Montague Dunn.
You're enjoying this already, aren't you?
More than a little.
Okay. Dunn was poisoned. After being trapped in the colonial collection room by the killer, Montague Dunn was affected by inhaling a virulent vegetal poison.
Locked.
Oh, Dunn's belongings. To Mr. F. Wayne, Director of Wayne & Sons Printing Company. My friend, your posters for the great exhibition at Kew Gardens are very beautiful, but it is surely unnecessary to mention all of the staff. My name alone will be sufficient. Montague Dunn.
A beautiful feather pen of a good make. This watch is of great value.
London Crest.
A membership card for the London Crest Club.
Kew Gardens.
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was?
Oh, yes. He forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure.
Jeez.
It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who was such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression, great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed celebrating, shall we say. He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That
And
he had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before, and now all of a sudden he is trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Okay, I think it was the son and the lady. Watson, get out of the way. Oh, look at this. Am I standing on Watson? I'm standing on Watson. Okay. So we're
Locked.
locked. Where was he? Is he over here? Yeah. Let's start at the top.
Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah, at the moment I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens. And I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the deputy director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed? Well, that is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
Why do you
I
want to
see.
be...
And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Okay. Yay, we have the keys. Okay, director office. Dang. Ooh. What's with all his shoes? Huh. How am I supposed to know? Oh. Okay. Okay. Do we have to do it with it all open? Okay. To the left. To the right. To the left. To the right. For the left. For the right. Ah! Darn it. And then 5. Okay. Jeez, what a bother. Letter of complaint. Mr. Dunn, we must ask you for the last time for the return of our dear sisters. You do not have any right to hold them imprisoned. They do not belong to you. Your so-called permissions are wholly false. You are hiding behind lies. The lie, we need not elaborate, that was reported in the press as the case of June 14th, 1889. What you have done is quite abhorrent. Be very sure that we shall never abandon our family members. We trusted you and regret having done so. The Divine Syndicate. I think we're going to be doing some research.
I suggest that we don't tell Miss Margaret White about this document.
Debt of Miss Margaret White to Mr. Montague Dunn. Rental of a suite of rooms at Oxford Street. An educational scholarship at the London University. Credits opened at Hamilton, Radigan House, Taylor's, and at Baird and Sons Luxury Jewelers. My dear friend, please allow me to express my disappointment upon reading your last letter. I am paying you to defend me, not to accuse me. Kew Gardens, Gardens is a royal institution. We are granted the great opportunity to travel the world and to save the most extraordinarily precious and rare species of plant. Our duty is to protect such species and from those who might wish to use them for dubious purpose. This divine syndicate of whom you speak have no right to hold such precious plants. Remember the case of June 14th, 1889. So I must respectfully ask you to once again to notarize the permissions of these plants on the behalf of Kew Gardens. The documents were sent to you on Monday. Please see, or P.S., see you in Boodles on Tuesday. As always, Montague Dunn. Okay.
A photograph of Montague Dunn and Reynold Hamish. Champagne. Montague Dunn had good taste. French wine. A remarkable vintage. Newspapers discussing Kew Gardens.
The Times. New plant species. The Kew Gardens team are pleased to announce the successful production of a new variety of barley, one that retains a complete resistance to the cold. They have named it the Siberian barley. Mr. Martin Hamish, the proud cultivator of the graft, will hold a press conference next Monday morning upon this very subject. Oh, the breakup. My dearest Margaret, following our last conversation, I believe it might be easier if you vacate your position here at Kew Gardens. As you pointed out quite bluntly, you are no longer in need of my support. You are quite able to stand up for yourself in this world, as you say. Well, I give you back your freedom and wish you nothing but good luck. Montague Dunn. Miss White and Mr. Dunn had a recent disagreement. Montague Dunn was planning to release Miss White from her position from Kew Gardens. Okay. Nope. Okay, I guess nothing else to look at in here. What's with the mirror? Oh. Covered because he's dead? Anything new to talk about?
Just be careful with the plants during your inspection.
Oh. Oh. Wet bottle trace.
There was a bottle here. It left behind a trace of the substance that pervaded the laboratory.
Bottle of wine. Drops.
Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around.
Gold dust? Good heavens. What's it doing here?
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks, so it may be a valuable auxiliary for various experiments.
But why would anyone perform such experiments in a botanical garden?
The bottle is no longer here, but it is possible to detect a faint scent.
No.
We need a good nose.
We can still look around though, right? University of Cambridge, Botanical Section.
A botany book.
A repeat year.
This student's book belongs to Albert. Chemicals, a sufficient quantity for some serious experiments.
A phonograph used for voice recording. Remarkable.
Yes, this is quite a modern laboratory. I don't hear anything.
Oh. There we go.
Martin Hamish's perception of plants.
And it seems clear from these multiple experiments that plants should respond to their environment and have a form of consciousness. Margaret White, February 1895. Report number 245.
Study report.
Interesting.
This is a table for experiments. It resembles my own.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
Aha. There's one of those
Such masks are generally worn when dealing with toxic chemicals. It appears as though the protective equipment is missing from here. Gloves, waterproof aprons, everything one might need for self-protection.
Do they grow dangerous plants here?
The employee's cloakroom. Locked.
Holmes,
Locked.
Albert Dunn didn't give us the key to this door.
I know.
It does not matter. We will open it.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, goodness. Now that's annoying. Ugh. Oh, okay. That looks like it goes together. Okay. That looks about right, doesn't it? Oh. It looks perfect, except for right there. Why? Oh. There.
Open.
I feel so smart.
Albert's locker.
Let's go through everybody's stuff.
Young Albert, standing with a woman in front of London University. Specialist articles on shipyards and ship construction. Albert Dunn has a great passion for shipbuilding and the sea. A rejection letter from the British Royal Naval College.
Royal Navy School of NCOs, Recruitment Centers, London. Sir, it is my regret to inform you that, despite your excellent results within our entry examinations, we are unable to invite you to the Royal Navy School. Your father, Mr. Montague Dunn, has expressed his intention to entrust to you the directorship of the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew, and it is clear that he would not release you for an entire year of naval training. Please accept all our best wishes for your future at Kew Gardens. Yours very faithfully, J.M. Lamarchand, Director of the Royal Navy Training Center. So his father was keeping him from doing what he wanted.
Martin Hamish's locker. A review on rare and exotic plants. Martin Hamish has written several pieces.
Mr. General Secretary, recent events unfolding at Kew Gardens obliged me to renew my application for the management position. As I have stated already in my previous letters, I believe that no one is better suited for the post. While Mr. Montague Dunn was alive, I understood your reservation to my suggestion. Your reasons were political, and so I was happy to comply. But now the Kew Gardens lie in disorder. How can I stand by and allow it? How can I leave them in the hands of inexperienced people with no motivation? I must urge you to cast your decision as a matter of urgency so that I may devote myself entirely to the noble task ahead and free my mind from this uncertainty. Well, he took no... He didn't... He didn't wait very long after the guy died.
Martin Hamish studied chemistry. Interesting. Father and I, Kew Gardens.
So his father worked there before him, it looks like.
Miss White's locker. A draft of the letter that Miss White sent to her parents.
Dear Mother and Father, I am writing this letter with reluctance to ask for your help. My studies and my housing costs have proven to be more expensive than I had anticipated. I fear, therefore, that I may not be able to manage in the long term. I know that we have had our disagreements in the past, but would you be so heartless as to allow your daughter to fail her studies due to lack of money?
Apparently, Miss White is a capable student.
Chemistry degree.
These jewels must be worth a small fortune.
Why is she keeping him in a locker like that?
A vanity purse. It is of high quality.
Margaret, we were surprised to receive your letter. How could you think to ask us for money after all of these years that have passed since you left, and without any thought of us? Wow. Sorry. You have never shared with us any detail of your success at the university, but you choose to do so now? We suppose you must be ashamed of us, for we are not from the same high class as your new friends. Yes, we are modest people, but you should learn to put your family first, as we at home have always done. And none of us ever compromised their reputation, as it appears you have already with your employer, Mr. Dunn. No, Margaret, it is you who makes us feel ashamed. Your parents. Dear Margaret, I know how your financial troubles are overwhelming you at this present time. Please let me reassure you that I could not permit you to remain in such a dilemma. I was born of a wealthy family. I would consider it an honor if you might accept my help. Your devoted servant, Albert. Oh, we have a thinky thing. Margaret White's studies and social situation were completely dependent on Montague Dunn's will. Well, that was enlightening. Okay, where's the seed room? Oh, the nursery. Read that too. Ooh.
These young plants must be delicate if they are kept in the nursery.
So those are the plants that were supposed to be an exhibition? That's right.
A master's degree diploma. It belongs to Martin Hamish. An award presented to Martin Hamish for Best Grower of the Year.
Maybe he's the one who killed the guy.
A thesis written by Martin Hamish. A glasses case. It is empty. This area serves as Martin Hamish's office.
Exhibition of Garden Plants, April 1895, University of Oxford Botanic Garden.
This poster is for an exhibition that Martin Hamish was directing, but it had nothing to do with Kew Gardens. This certificate belongs to Martin Hamish. He won a horticultural competition.
So he is more than qualified to run the place. Oh, Mr. Dunn. Oh, I'm done. It's Mr. Dunn in it. Is this where the piece of... Aha! Bum bum bum!
I am curious if the marble that we found will fit this place.
Well, obviously it will.
Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the Colonial Collection Room is what they have in common.
That's how I got... No. I thought maybe
It is
that's
a
how the
bust
guy
of
got the head
Montague
wound, but
Dunn.
no. I think he got it from hitting the sign. Okay. Well, that was used to hit something.
The seeds of plant species are stored here.
I thought Miss White was supposed to be here.
Locked.
Not anymore. Here's a seed house.
Open.
Aha!
Good day to you, miss. You have some very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir, and good day to you too. But...
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Ooh.
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
expensive perfume. Oh my. Marks past malnutrition. Wow, poor family. Dang. Okay, what else are we missing here? Oh. Unmarried.
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh, yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
Oh, it's quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss, after the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Would you happen to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University.
Biology?
I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn. That is how I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see. It is a great honor.
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
He was a master, a great leader. I saw him almost as a spiritual father.
He had an exceptional nature?
Oh, yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic, and very nice to me, although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
Most of the doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys. He agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him. It is only temporary.
Thank you, miss. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So, someone is lying. It is obvious. Materials for college study. They belong to Albert.
This is Albert's desk.
A book about ships. Nothing at all to do with plants. These leather gloves are new and of good quality. They do not appear to have been used. This place serves as Albert's office.
Okay.
From here, we are unable to see the interior of the colonial collection room.
Look at all these seeds. Yeah. That scared me. Okay. That's everything. Okay, I'll talk to him.
Mr. Hamish, was someone from your family connected with Kew Gardens?
Family? No. I'm the only one with a passion for botany.
You lie.
I do not think so. This photograph of you and your father at Kew Gardens suggests the opposite.
But you have no right to.
Do tell us more about your father.
He was, indeed, the greatest botanist of his time in the British Empire. He worked together with Montague Dunn until the end of his life. He brought me in at the age of 12.
Did he get on well with Mr. Dunn?
No, I couldn't say that. They expanded Kew Gardens together, that was all. And it was all my father's work. But Dunn always lived the high life.
So Mr. Dunn was not helping your father?
Oh, yes, he provided the financial support. And as far as he was concerned, that fulfilled his role. But the worst of it was, he declared himself as the master of Kew Gardens. Fame meant nothing to my father. So it was easy for Mr. Dunn to take all the credit.
There is a bust of Montague Dunn in the nursery.
A bust? Oh, that old thing. Further proof of that outrageous ego of his.
But why in that room in particular?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
Lie.
It is strange, because I recovered a fragment of the bust inside the Colonial Collection Room.
Really? Oh, well, so I am mistaken. It ought to have been removed during the clean-up. This room is so small.
Do you know who moved it?
I have no idea. Surely Mr. Dunn requested it. Do you have any more questions like this? Because fragments of rock are not my responsibility.
Evidently. Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Okay, let's talk to Albert. He's in here, right? Yep. Let's talk about your... Yes, your Navy stuff.
I perceive that you are passionate about the Royal Navy.
Passionate? No, not really. I like ships, that is all.
Are
Lie!
you quite sure?
Oh.
You do not seem to be so interested in plants.
It's difficult, that's all. My future is here. It has never been about anything else.
Lie!
And yet I know that the Royal Naval College rejected your application.
Ah, you truly are as clever as they say. Yes, that's correct.
No, we just looked through your
And
stuff.
in fact, my father was strongly against the idea. He did his best to ruin my plans, although I almost did succeed. But my dreams were shattered, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Okay, so what do we have now? Okay, Albert had a motive to kill his father. Montague Dunn had thwarted Albert's dream of joining the Royal Navy. By killing his father, Albert could have his revenge and eventually succeed in his father's place as the director of Kew Gardens. Hamish's motive. Martin Hamish had a motive. He believed that he and his father's lives had been ruined by Dunn, who had taken the credit for all of their work. Hamish wished to take over the directorship of Kew Gardens, but he knew that would not be possible with Dunn still alive. And now we will talk with Miss White, who also has a motive. That's nursery.
Kew Gardens is such an exciting place. Wouldn't you agree?
Okay, fine, whatever. Okay. Let's go back to Baker Street. Oh, good, the bees are gone at least. Oh, goodness. We got a lot of stuff to look at. It's for the case of June 14th, 1889. Scandal at the Divine Syndicate. Scandal at Divine Syndicate Club. The Divine Syndicate Club, followers of the God King Terwan, situated on 48 Grosvenor Street, Carlton Road, protectors of plants and more particularly trees, are currently the subject of an administrative investigation. The leaders of this organization are suspected of financial malfeasance. It may be that this investigation will lead to charges of justiciary. Meanwhile, many voices have risen high against this inspection, denouncing this state. In fact, this private organization, which has given as its goal the defense and protection of nature, and which incorporates many persons of influence, including political representatives of the opposition party, blah, 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 blah.
Here it is. And here is the Divine Syndicate's address. Perfect. It is time to find out what they have against Montague Dunn.
Encyclopedias. Research. Poisons and toxins. Oh, tropobelladonna. Is that in there?
That is not the one I need.
Oh, okay, fine. Oh. Botany, there we go. These plants have a certain toxicity in common, more or less variable. They're carnivorous. Oh, all of them. Florum, prunus. Only the first three can be dangerous to humans, particularly Florum diabolica. Of course, it would have a name like that, but only under very specific conditions. Plants should react to a process of aggression, against which it will issue deadly spores.
Here it is.
Okay. Theft and murder. Killers may be those who stole the exotic plants, including the deadly species from the last exhibition at Kew Gardens. Okay. Okay, symbol of the broken pot. The Divine Syndicate. The Divine Scholastic Syndicate for Vegetation Veneration. The members of the syndicate worship Trowan, the God King. They strive to obtain spiritual peace and release themselves from the material world. So generous donations are appreciated.
Here it is.
Okay. Symbol of the exhibition pot. London Garden Supplies. There it is. Seymour's Garden. Garden equipment and supplies. We're a premium supplier for all your landscape gardening and timber requirements. Full range supply and delivery of sands, soils, mulches, pots, and anything else you may need. 3 Blurton Road, London.
Here it is.
Okay, well that was quite a lot of research. Is there anything we need to do over here? Yeah. Okay, let's grab Toby.
Come on, Toby. We have some work for you to do. Let us go to Kew Gardens. Let us take Toby to the laboratory. He will pick up the scent of this mysterious substance. Search, Toby. Search.
Found it. Okay.
Congratulations, Toby. Now let us see what you have found.
Aha.
This is the bottle that was used in the laboratory. It was buried here. There is still some liquid remaining in the bottle, with gold flakes, a tiny caterpillar. Not surprising to see one in a garden, but at the bottom of a bottle.
Where's the laboratory? Here we go. That's a cloakroom. Help, Watson! I'm stuck. Okay. Where was this? Yeah. Where was the seed place? I think we go through here. There we go.
Kew Gardens is such an exciting place. Wouldn't you agree?
Okay. Oh, we gotta go back to our lab. Oh, we haven't read her thing. Miss Margaret White is a beautiful young lady who appears moderately wealthy. Nevertheless, her hands can be seen to be marked by tiny brown dots. These were caused by pellagra, a condition that emerges after a prolonged period of malnutrition. They reveal that her childhood was a poor and unhappy one. However, the signs of wealth that we see now clearly indicate a significant change in her life. Okay. Let's go back to Baker Street and analyze the bottle. Drop off Toby. And then we'll go to the divine whatever.
Let us determine just what we have found here. Let us pour liquid from the bottle into a test tube to perform an analysis. This is the bottle that we found hidden at Kew Gardens. Let us use a pipette to take a sample of the liquid and fill a test tube.
Okay.
A colorless, water-based liquid.
No, don't inhale it.
Quite a strong floral aroma.
Don't
Holmes?
taste it.
What are you doing?
It has a bitter taste.
What if it's poisonous?
Did you ever see poison stored in enormous jars like that? Anyway, there is a doctor nearby.
So what do you think it is?
It is some kind of organic compound. Let us vaporize the liquid and see what happens. Small colorless crystals. Colorless, tiny crystals that are soluble in water, with a floral smell and a bitter taste. Watson, could you pass me that small bottle, please?
Of course. Here you are. Holmes, do you know what it is?
Wagner's reagent. There was a label on the bottle that you passed to me.
No, Holmes, I meant the bottle that we found.
Let me add the reagent and see if there is any sediment, and then I shall tell you.
Can you turn this off? Oh, okay.
Red sediment, just as I suspected. This liquid is of organic origin. It contains some alkaloid. Most likely it is unstable, and that is why there is a quantity of gold dust to prevent contamination. This mixture is probably a fertilizer. Someone was carrying out unusual experiments in the garden's laboratory.
Yeah, it totally went over my head.
This place is beautiful, Holmes. Its atmosphere is remarkably soothing.
Let us find someone who could help us.
You know what? I'm going to end the broadcast here. We're already at like an hour and 45 minutes. So this will be a 2-part case. So I will see you in part 2. And thank you for watching.